In this video, we're going to talk about what is a project milestone. We're going to explain why milestones are just as important as the end date, what different types of milestones there are, why they are so crucial to the project, what each one should have, which I bet you've never heard before, and how to manage and interact with each of them. So I hope you're ready. Let's go. In construction, milestones signify points in the overall duration where we need to have something done by, or we've topped out, or we've reached a critical point and we need to have a key handoff, or the team has accomplished a certain portion of work and there can be a celebration. Milestones are crucial because they allow us to track that mile. If you're going to run a 15-mile race, are we meeting the pace every mile? And I will say another thing from the book called How Big Things Get Done. They say you should also track inch stones, or what we would say in the US like feet stones, like shorter increments up into those milestones. It's really quite a nice concept. And so it allows us to manage the project in a more effective way. So each milestone, as you see them on paper, should have a clear definition of what they are describing or indicating, a good integration into the timeline so that you know where they fit throughout the project on that timeline. Dependencies, meaning this milestone is considered complete when these other dependent activities are complete as well. So each milestone will have dependencies. Each milestone will have measurement criteria, meaning if somebody's like, yay, we hit the milestone, how can you measure that? How can you know that you hit the criteria? And these milestones are important because it allows us to track progress, allocate resources, manage risks within that actual phase up into that milestone, communicate to clients if we're on track by measuring to that milestone, and typically we tie payments to those milestones, and in a lot of cases, financial incentives. So milestones are crucial. It's a common part of project management, especially in construction, and we've got to have them. So the key is to identify how do we make them the right way and how do we track them the right way. We're going to show that to you right now on these cool flip charts. So let's go ahead and talk about this right now. In other videos, I've said, hey, if this is your start, the good practice, or what I feel the best practice is to start sketching out the different phases inside your actual macro level takt plan, right? And these phases will have a definite shape. They typically always look like these four-sided shapes with this incline, and they represent different parts of the actual project. And by mapping these out and sketching them, and then either putting that into Excel or LeanTakt, we're able to create a complete network that shows us what our project is and the different phases that have to happen when in order to complete it. I personally recommend that these phases right here each have their own milestone. So for me, the milestones are pretty easy to complete because once you do your macro level takt plan, you automatically know where your milestones are going to be, and it's easily trackable, and it provides a really nice framework. The other thing that I typically do from a milestone standpoint is I might put, permanent power. There might be another milestone that says air on, right? For when our air handlers are running in hand and we can condition the building. So the milestones can be, as a preference, number one, specific to the phase, and then also you can add other milestones. I've also seen some companies do a 1/3 project milestone and a 2/3 project milestone, which allows them to really track the completion of certain phases or activities at those different points, and it allows them to evaluate that criteria. So let me just go ahead and talk about what a phase is. If you take this and we blow it up, the reason that these look like this is that if you have, let's say for instance, 3 zones, your sequence will show up here, here, and here. And the reason it's at an incline is because there's a stagger on a takt time. This is a part of takt planning, okay? So you'll always have a couple of different components. You'll have the sequence as a part of your phase. You will have the pace which it's going, which is your line of balance. And then hopefully every phase has, at the end over here, a buffer. And the buffer is to absorb any delays or variation within the actual phase. This is all verifiable. So there are ways to verify that you have the right sequence with the pull plan. There are ways to calculate your line of balance. We use a measurement called the realized flow potential, and there are parameters here that can be validated. And then your risk analysis for the phase will determine how many buffers you should have. So in every project, there's what's called a path of critical flow. And the path of critical flow will look like this, all the way to the end of the project. And the path of critical flow will be your longest path, but it will include your phases, and it will always include in each one of the phases your sequence, your line of balance, your buffer, and the tie. Let me say that again. Your sequence, your line of balance, your buffer, and your tie. So you don't have some random critical path flowing throughout your project that changes all the time. What you really have is this critical flow path, or this path of critical flow that really runs through these phases. That's why I really like to evaluate our milestones based on those. And again, I just want to say one more time for clarity, if somebody says, well, hey, how do I justify that with the owner? You can always verify with a pull plan the sequence. We can verify mathematically the line of balance, and we can verify the needed buffer per phase. So this is the structure, and your milestones are based off of those phase structures. So the strategy that I like to use when I'm interacting with these phases centers around a couple of key activities, which I'll go ahead and mark in green for us. So if I'm on my schedule, and let's just take this one for example, I will always about 3 months ahead of time do my pull plan, okay? The pull plan is going to enable me with the trade partners to vet out that sequence. In the pull plan, I will, with the trade partners, be able to see if I have the right number of zones, like we've talked about in other videos. I may choose the current zoning strategy, or if I add more zones to this, like let's say I even just go to 11, my shape will incline and I will gain time at the end of that milestone and gain buffers. You're going to need those buffers to absorb variation and delays. It's just going to happen, so you have to have it. So I will always make sure that my pull plan is done out ahead. Another thing I will always do is when I have new scopes here, 2 to 3 weeks ahead, I will always do what's called a pre-construction meeting to set up the quality standards for that scope of work so the trade partner has perfect clarity on what we're expecting them to do. Inside these phases, once I get there, I will always monitor the next 6-week window, which is called look-ahead planning, to make sure that I'm finding any roadblocks and making work ready. And the fourth thing is I will always monitor and manage this buffer at the end of the phase to make sure that my milestone is still whole, healthy, and happy, and that I'm on track within the schedule. So whether you use phase milestones, which is what I recommend, or milestones like permanent power or Aeron, or the 1/3, 2/3 points, this gives you a structure that you can follow to monitor it. And remember, like I said before, you'll always want to make sure you do the pull plan 3 months ahead, the pre-construction meeting 2 to 3 weeks ahead, that you're always looking 6 weeks out, and that you're always managing your buffers. If you do that, you can report on the status of the milestones to the owner, to your company, to whomever else, and notice more quickly whether or not you're having difficulty. And within that actual phase, again, manage that look ahead, manage that quality, and manage that sequence with that pull plan so that you can really live within that phase. So as I close, I want to give you this image. A phase, remember, looks like this because you have multiple zones down here and you have your sequence. If you're managing this and you have a buffer and you have your milestone, you can have a better chance of hitting that milestone if you pull plan the sequence, okay? If you prepare the work with your meeting, okay? Prepare the work. If you're monitoring the progress, if you're using the buffer properly, if you make sure that your line of balance is correct. And I do want to say that if you ever get in trouble, you can come up with different zoning strategies that will incline your phase. And I would also say that at LeanTakt, if you ever need us, we can come up with your baseline, your target, and a backup. right? So I'd say your baseline, your target, and your backup. That way, if you ever need to get more buffers or recover because you get into trouble, you're going to be completely set. And all of these things are verifiable. So I just want you to look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 different things that you can do other than just rushing and pushing and freaking out to try and hit that milestone and to gain certainty so that this becomes your measurement, your target, and your reporting structure. So I hope you've enjoyed this. The other thing is the creation of your macro level TAK plan, the creation of your phases, the creation of your milestones, teaching your team, helping to manage your project and monitor these milestones. We can all help you with at Elevate and our company that we call LeanTakt. We have 30 engineers that can help you at any time. All you have to do is hit that comments button, type us in a message, tell us what you need, and we will literally come help you. Milestones are amazing. You have got to have them clearly defined. They have got to be tied to the right things, which for me is always the phase, and you're going to use them to report your success and your progress throughout the project and possibly problems. So we've got to do it right, and we have got to make sure that it's leaning in your favor, and we've got to make sure that you have the tools that I've just described that will help you manage to it. We can do that. We can help you. Just comment below. On we go.